Check, check, check. Log on, everybody. I am your Jamaican Queen, Miss Y. You are tuned into How I See It TV, and this is How I See It Live. While I wait for some more people to run come up in here and join me. Let me do some housekeeping. Please remember to like this video, share the link to my channel if you feel like the content needs some more crowd. Subscribe if you have not done so as yet. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, now called X, at How I See It, and on TikTok at How I See It TV. If you haven't seen it yet, please go check out my review of the 7th Avenue vegan lemon drop body soap. I did a review and shared my thoughts of the product on my Instagram. It's the last reel that I posted, so not hard to find. And I am How I See It on Instagram. Okay, so let me get into the topic at hand. You saw the topic when click that click that play button or whatever. So I'm asking, did Melissa Ford quit the Joe Budden podcast? Did she resign or was she fired? I have been following this story for about a couple weeks now before she went missing. Let's put it that way, before she went missing from the podcast. And truthfully, I don't know the names of some of the people over there on the Joe Budden podcast outside of Joe Budden, Mark Lamont. And the only reason why I know his name is because he used to do the Basketball Wives reunion. And of course, I know of Melissa Ford. I know that she was like a model or a video vixen back in the day, but I know her because of her work on the Jason Lee podcast a few years ago. And I don't even know what happened between Melissa Ford and Jason Lee, but I know after she left the Jason Lee podcast or whatever, the YouTube show that he was doing at the time, she went on, she had her own show and then on YouTube, and then she ended up on the Joe Budden podcast. And how I see it, y'all, I really didn't like how I would use the term dogpiled on her over there. It was almost as if Melissa could not speak. But I blame you, Melissa, because why would you go over there and join a podcast with 50 11 men? You are the only woman. They, in my opinion, y'all, men have a way of always wanting to have the last word. That's my opinion. And how I see it as well, men usually feel like they're always right. And some of them lack the emotional intelligence to listen, to understand, and not to just respond. And whenever Melissa would get the floor to speak, she would say one or two words and then it's like they jump in, they take over the conversation, totally cut off what she was about to say or what she was saying. And it's almost like sometimes the topic or the conversation would switch. And I'm like, oh my God, I wanted to hear what Melissa was about to say. And mind you, I wasn't watching the Joe Budden podcast on their Patreon. No, 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 no. I was waiting for the bits and pieces that he will drop on YouTube because he'll drop like maybe 20 minutes or maybe a 5 minute clip or maybe a 10 minute clip. And a lot of the times the clips that they would post were the clips of them just, in my opinion, talking to Melissa nasty or not giving her the opportunity to finish a complete thought. Melyssa is a very smart woman, a very smart woman. Don't let her pass as a video vixen fool y'all. I forget what she was studying, and then she said that, I don't remember if she finished or she didn't finish, but I'm gonna say she was college educated or had some level of a college education, but she is pretty smart. And when she speaks, her she has a wide vocabulary. Okay? So it's not like they had a woman co-hosting alongside, as I said, 2011 men, because it's like we're maybe like seven. Let me not exaggerate. There's Joe Budden, there's Mark Lamont, there's one dude over there, one dude. So it's about five or six guys, and then Melyssa. Again, five or six men, and then there's Melyssa. And a lot of the times, I just felt like they treated her as if she does not have any sense. They treated her as if when she's speaking, she's not making sense. And a lot of the times, they did what men usually do, and that is they listen to respond and not to understand completely what she is saying. And I think that they did the viewers, or maybe, I don't know, maybe the viewers of the Joe Budden podcast, the regular viewers, not me, who, if I see them post a video and I look at the title and it's something that I might be interested in, I might go listen to it. I'm not a regular viewer. I'm not a fan like that. Sometimes there are things that they'll talk about that I would like to hear. Like, for example, when they were, um, because I went down the rabbit hole of the David case, the David and Celeste, situation that's going on. They were talking about that the other day, and I listened to their take on it. And there were, a couple other topics. I can't remember them off the top of my head that they covered, and including like even um the Cardi B album. They were reviewing that. I haven't even watched that video yet, but I saw that they posted that. Um so I'm not a regular viewer of the Joe Budden podcast or a regular listener, but maybe, the people who listen to him, they don't care about the woman's voice, which is why maybe they kept cutting Melyssa off so much. But I've been listening to this YouTuber called The Spot, and he's been doing a great job at covering Melyssa Ford's absence. And even before her absence, he would cover just how they would treat her on the show. And now we're at the point where she's been absent from the Joe Budden podcast for about 2 weeks now. And this guy, The Spot, he's been covering it. He talks about maybe there might be some lawsuit pending. I don't know. That's allegedly. And he showed one clip that I felt like was very, very telling. Um, where Joe Budden brought up how Melyssa went to HR to talk about how those men on that show were treating her. And Joe Budden was just having a jolly good time laughing at Melyssa because basically HR told her, girl, it's either you're going to stay or you're going to go. And that's me just, summarizing what was said in the clip. And I don't understand why, Melyssa, after you went to HR to complain, if HR, who's supposed to be protecting you, is telling you, you know, throwing their hands up in the air and telling you it is what it is, stay or leave, girl, you should have left right there and then. Right there and then. And I get it that a lot of people will say, oh, as women, we want to be treated as equals and blah, blah, blah. But truth be told, they weren't treating Melyssa as an equal over there. When the guys would speak, they would hold space for each other to complete a thought and to finish a sentence. And yes, they'll jump in here and there, but when Melyssa would have something to say, they would literally cut her off. And that would annoy me majority of the times when I would check out some of their videos, because I always just want to hear what she has to say, especially when it comes to topics that are women centered. Like, I don't want to hear the thoughts and opinions of these five guys over here, because they don't have my body parts. They don't have my hormones. So if you're talking about something that women go through on a daily basis, and there's a woman sitting with y'all as part of your team, and she can't even get a word out, that used to annoy the heck out of me. So anyways, Melyssa hasn't been there for 2 weeks now. And then when they were reviewing the Cardi B album, I saw that Don't Call Me White Girl. And the only reason why I know about Don't Call Me White Girl is because she did an interview with Candace Diller Bassett. And Candace posted, the link to that interview. And so I went and I watched it. And they were just talking about, colorism. Don't call me white girl. She's a very light skinned woman. She, I guess, was raised in an environment where the majority of the people were white, and she was too black for the white people, and she was too light skinned for um wait, what was I saying? She was too light skinned for the black people, and she was too black for the white people. So she didn't really know how she would fit in. So basically, the conversation she was having with Candace is, you know, having a child in an interracial relationship, how would that look? Da, 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 da. So that's how I know about Don't Call Me White Girl. Have I gone back to listen to any of her other episodes? No, I have not. But I saw that she was one of the co-hosts when they were breaking down the Cardi B album. And silly me for thinking that she was just a guest host, Melyssa was on vacation, whatever. Today, today I'm on YouTube scrolling trying to find something to watch, and I see that the Joe Budden podcast, they have a video, and the title is Joe announces Don't Call Me White Girl as their new co-host. So I was like, what happened to Melyssa? Like, what's going on? Now, Melyssa, she's been posting little, subliminals and whatever on her Instagram stories. She wasn't at Budden's birthday party the other day, and a lot of people were saying, hey Miss Cece, a lot of people were saying that that was weird, and that's telling about, where Melyssa and Joe stands at this point, because Melyssa was at his previous birthday parties. But I was like, you know what? Maybe the girl was busy. She couldn't make this party. But seeing that Don't Call Me White Girl is now sitting in Melyssa's seat, I was like, dang, did Melyssa quit? Because one time she literally walked off the podcast stage. They got her so upset and she walked off. So maybe she walked off again, and this time she said, I'm not coming back. I can't wait to hear from insiders like what happened there. And already I'm not, again, I'm not an avid viewer of the Joe Budden podcast, but when I watched the video today of Joe announcing her as the new host, Don't Call Me White Girl as the new host, I felt like she was taking some digs at Melyssa. And I'm like, girl, wrong road. You just got here. Don't start off that way. Don't start off trying to be a pick me, you know, stay in your lane. You don't know what happened in their work relationship or whatever. So keep yourself out of that and just do you. Girl, just do you. No need to, be making anything that could be misconstrued as you're throwing shade at Melissa, because honestly, that's how I took some of the things that you said in the video that I saw today. But that is that for my thoughts on did Melissa quit the Joe Budden podcast. At this point, we don't know. Did she get fired? I don't know. See, in times like this, I wish Wendy Williams was still around because she would have had the tee. Or who knows, maybe Jason Lee will come out and give us the, download us on what really happened there. But wherever Melissa lands, she has her own podcast. Hot and Bothered, I think is the name of it. I've watched a couple episodes, especially her episode with I don't remember his name, and that's unfortunate. But I've watched a couple of her episodes, and as I said, Melissa is an intelligent woman. She has great conversations one on one with the guests that she's had on her. Malcolm Jamal Warner, that's his name. May soul rest in peace. He was one of her guests on her podcast. That's a really, really, really powerful interview. So if y'all have never watched Hot and Buttered with Melissa, you can start with that interview that she did. But wherever she lands, I'm sure she's gonna be fine. She split with the Jason Lee podcast, and then she ended up on Joe Budden. She has her own podcast, so I'm sure Melissa will move on to bigger and better things. Now, moving on to Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj, the same week Cardi B drops her album, posts that, her album is coming out on March. I don't remember the date. And I was like, okay, cool. She's been quiet, for a few months, not a few months, a few weeks. The last thing we heard from Nikki, she was going at Jay-Z about allegedly money owed, and she was going at the lady from Rock Nation. I don't know if she's the CEO or something. And that lady and her daughter are going through some family issues, and Nikki was, talking about that and kind of, throwing gasoline on that situation. So, and that was a few weeks ago. I think that was like August. And we haven't really been hearing anything from her. And lo and behold, Cardi B's album drops, and people are talking about Cardi B's album. Here comes Nikki saying my album is coming out in March. It's like 6 months away. And people say, it's unheard of for an artist to announce the date that their album is going to drop 6 months out the gate. The album launch is 6 months away, and she's already announcing it. Okay, fine, cool. Then she goes to takes to her Twitter. I think it was Sunday night or Saturday, who knows. And she says to her barbs, basically telling them thanks for the support. And she's letting them know that one of the one of the song titles is going to be The Straw That Broke the Camel's Back. Now, I'm a music lover. I love music, okay? And I don't dislike Nikki. I'm honestly one of those people who believe that there was a point in time in rap music where we were not hearing women, we weren't hearing the voices of the women rappers as much. I think before Nicki Minaj came along, Eve was like that last female rapper that we were hearing. And then Eve, I don't know what happened. She kind of fizzled out a little bit. And then here comes Nicki Minaj. And, it's like the gate kind of swung open for her, and it was all about her for a long time. I remember after Nikki, was getting like all this buzz, then there was a little buzz surrounding Dage Loaf, and then she kind of fizzled out, and then it was Cardi. And so I've always given Nicki Minaj her props for being that woman, for being that girl in rap, for being that woman in rap that was holding down the fort for all those years. And she was literally there by herself because let's be for real, outside of Nicki Minaj, for a good, shoot, I don't even know how long, for a good couple of years outside of Nicki Minaj, we weren't hearing about any other female rappers. As I said, Dage Loaf was like that only one that kind of was breaking through a little bit. And then she just went somewhere and I don't know where she's been since. And then Nicki Minaj had that Young Money machine behind her that was pushing her, pushing her, pushing her. And it almost felt like, in my opinion, the Young Money machine kind of closed the gate on any other woman rapper coming in to compete with Nicki for a long time. And maybe that's not the case, but that's what it kind of seemed like now when you're, looking back in hindsight. But she held it down and she did a great job for those couple of years. And then Cardi B came in, and yes, we can say, Remy was there, Little Kim was there, but truth be told, the only person that was being pushed commercially at just like a rapid pace and at a high level was Nicki Minaj. She was the only one. And then Cardi B burst on the scene. And when Cardi B burst on the scene, it wasn't even solely just about rap. At first, it was just she was funny. Oh, it was Deb, Miss Deb. Because every time we heard a Nicki song, it was always like a collaboration with one of them Young Money guys. It was either a song with Drake or a song with Wayne, or it was just always attached to Young Money. Majority of her early music, her intro was Young Money, you know? And nothing's wrong with that. Maybe that's what, maybe she found a formula at that point in time that a lot of the girls who were trying to burst onto the scene didn't even understand. And I know that she was working with Miss Deb at one point in time or another. But didn't she leave Deb? I think she left, and then after she left Deb, she went on to Young Money. I don't know. But all I'm saying is for a good while, Nicki Minaj was the only name that we were hearing when it came to women in rap. And then Cardi B, she was funny. And I used to watch Cardi B videos, and she was super, super funny, sitting on the steps, just chatting like a regular girl, from down the way. You know, she just sounded like one of our friends, like one of our sisters, one of our cousins, and people loved her energy. And then when we found out that, like, for real, she was trying to do music, people were like, okay, good for her. I don't think a lot of people were taking her serious, honestly. At first, we just felt like this was the funny girl that was sitting on her step talking mad funny shit. But then she did Bodak Yellow. Say a little, you can, if you wanted to. These expensive, these is red bottoms, these is bloody shoes. When she came out with that song, people said, oh, what? Wait, what? She's actually talented. So she's funny, she has a great personality, and she can actually rap. And people started to root for her. And then she came out with Invasion of Privacy. and Invasion of Privacy did well. And just for some reason, I don't know what Cardi did to Nikki or what Nikki did to Cardi, but somewhere down the road, it just manifested, something manifested a level of dislike between the two that years later, it's just still permeating in the air. And I would love for it to stop. And maybe it's the fans. Maybe it's the fans. But I think Nicki Minaj's need, her need to have people bow down and say, "You're the queen. You're the queen and you're the best rapper since sliced bread." And I think that that is probably the biggest issue that I have with Nikki. It's like if you see yourself as the queen of rap, baby, take your throne. Yeah, they said that the motorsports collab, Cardi, I guess, Cardi felt like Nicki was dissing her on in her verse or something like that. Ooh, Cardi misunderstood a verse and Quavo jumped her. Ooh, was that what happened? Because I thought it was she felt, well, maybe that was a misunderstanding. She felt like Nicki was subbing her or dissing her, you know, in her verse. And I think Cardi rewrote her verse and she was throwing subs too. And then Nicki felt, disrespected. It's like at this point, and thank you for pointing that out too, because at this point, it's like so long ago, I don't even know for real, if the fans really know or even remember what started it. If Nikki and Cardi were really supposed to sit down like two grown women and actually hash it out, they'd probably be like, damn, I don't even remember for real how it started. Oh, dang. But see, this one, so too, was it Quavo jumped Nikki, as in, cursed her out on behalf of Cardi, or did he jump Cardi on behalf of Nikki? Like, because I honestly don't remember. The only thing I remember is like the melee at the Met Gala, and the heel knocking somebody's forehead, and Cardi having that big bump on her forehead. And I was like, what? I know it's not a song that led to all of that. Let me read what you said. Then allegedly Nikki supposedly had said something about her child, in which she did not, hence the not. Lord. Oh, dang. Oh, God. So it's just a whole bunch of misunderstanding. And I feel like if they would probably get on their grown woman ish, Cardi is a Libra. And I know, because I'm a Libra woman, I know I can keep a grudge, especially even if it was a misunderstanding to begin with. If it was a misunderstanding to begin with, but you keep doing things, you keep doing things to make me feel like, so I guess it wasn't a misunderstanding. Then I'm gonna keep a grudge. Then I'm gonna keep a grudge. And I think that's what's happening now. I think what's happening now is both of them could have let it go if maybe the fan base wasn't driving it. And if at some point either one had said, you know what? Let me call her up and get to the bottom of this. Because I can't be out here beefing with somebody over a lyrics from a song. Okay, girl, if you said that's not what you meant, I'm gonna believe you this time. I'm not gonna sub you. You don't sub me. I'm gonna tell my fans that we cool off of that. You tell your fans that we cool off of that. And if you ever feel like I'm saying something in the public domain that you think might be towards you, before you take it public, just hit me up and say, hey, I think if they had gone that route, then everything would have been quashed. But I don't know if it's a little too late because Cardi, she talked her big one. She talked her big one on her recent album, Am I the Drama? And it seems like Nikki is coming. I think Nikki is coming, and in her next album that's dropping in March next year, Nikki's gonna be getting some things off of her chest too, and all that's going to do is to continue to fuel the madness. That's what I think is gonna happen. For Nikki to say, "I have a song that's gonna be about the straw that broke the camel's back," and I got a couple surprises on there for a couple people, and they don't know it yet. I'm like, ooh, that to me, that's pow pows. That's shots fired. And all that's going to do is to just continue to fuel the messiness. I love a good rap beef, but I need it to make sense. And I don't think Cardi cares about the queen title. And I think that's what Nicki probably needs to understand, that there are just some people in this rap game that don't care for the titles. They came in to do their job and go home. And Cardi strikes me as the type of person who, she came into this because she was a broke girl from the hood and she wanted to get her family out the hood. She wanted to get out of the stripper game and she wanted to make good money. And that is what she did. And she is comfortable being in a space where financially she's good. And she's doing that through her music. I'm quite sure that Cardi B is good with being just Cardi B. Nikki wants to be queen and she wants everybody to say that she's the queen. But truthfully, even though I love a good majority of Nikki's music, like I still would not consider her to be the quote unquote queen of rap. I just I don't consider Nikki to be the queen of rap. I just don't. She's a great artist. Maybe the princess? Maybe the princess of rap, but not the queen. The queen, baby. And I think that's the biggest problem. And then I don't and then when you look at all the beefs that Nicki has been in for the last 3 years with all these rap girls, it's almost like Cardi definitely can't be the problem. If you're falling out with all these people, you know, you're saying that you got mad at Megan because she told you to go have a heaven baby when you told her that you were pregnant. I guess that's something to be mad about, but I mean, who knows what state of mind Meg was in when she said that? She might have been, you know, drunk allegedly off the henny. She probably thought that, she was playing her. Like, I don't even know. I don't even know if Megan's even said that for real, for real. And then it's almost like Nikki wants everybody to take on her beef. So, hey, I don't F with Cardi. If I did a song with you, you shouldn't F with Cardi either. So don't let me see you doing a collab with Cardi. And I don't think that her biggest issue with Megan is Megan telling her to go have an Evan baby. I think her biggest issue with Megan is Megan going off and doing WAP with Cardi. And my thing is, why should Megan have beef with Cardi just simply because you did a song with her? I don't understand that. I don't understand women with that mentality. And Nikki is in her 40s. We're not talking about a 19-year-old, 18-year-old, somebody in their early 20s. We're talking about somebody that's pushing almost 50. I mean, she's not that old, but she's in her 40s, early 40s. Um, Let me read what you said. We got a whole Black national anthem with the beat with Kendrick and Drake. Lord. um, Cardi did come in on the Love and Hip Hop New York level first. Yes, she did. And then girl just said, blast off. Here is Bodak Yellow. Y'all gonna see me. But truthfully, too, I don't even think that Nikki is a lyricist like that either. I don't think that she's a lyricist like that either. I know people talk about, you know, I just don't see, or maybe I just don't care enough. Maybe that's what it is. I probably just don't care enough. I listen to music to vibe and have a good time. I'm not trying to sit and dissect what you meant when you said this, and I, I don't care enough to do all of that. And maybe that's what's missing for me, why I don't see certain rappers in the way that other people, because even you mentioned the Drake and Kendrick this. Even with that, I listen to other people dissecting the lyrics and whatnot, but for me, it was just the vibe of the song. Yes, I understood what he was saying, but I wasn't like taking it in like this deep philosophical level or whatever, and breaking it apart and and doing compensation math and all of them. I was not doing all of that with the song, but it was a vibe. Even Cardi B's song, even when people say, "Oh, Cardi B doesn't write her own lyrics," I always say Cardi B raps just like she talks. She raps exactly the way she talks. So that means her writer must talk just like her for the raps to sound just like she talks. So for me, I think Cardi B very much writes her own stuff. There might be a couple people in the studio that says, put this word over here and put that word over there. And sometimes when people are in the studio doing that, they get a writer's credit. Mind you, they only told her to change two words. I've lived the studio life. I know how it works. I know how the splits work and all of that. And people will literally, if you're not mindful, people will, be in your studio time making suggestions, and then you end up having to give them a writer's credit just to avoid foolishness. Which is why you have Safari on a lot of the Nicki Minaj tracks as a writer. Because when Nicki Minaj did the remix of Holio, nobody's gonna tell me that Nicki Minaj is just so heavily influenced by the Jamaican culture that she understood those nuances so perfectly to put them in the remix. No, she had a Jamaican in the room helping her. That's what that was. Yo, Egyptian, tell them figuan. It don't matter how much Jamaicans you feel like you were raised with. If you want to understand the nuances and you want to put that in a song or you want to put that in writing, you have to have a Jamaican in the room with you. This a one, yeah, it's a the bad gal edition. Come on. A Jamaican was in that room helping her with that. I'm just saying, I'm not taking that back. Freddie says they keep sending subs at one another. If they can get past it, they can set the music world on fire. It's all ego and pride. Exactly. That's exactly what it is on both sides. On both sides, it's eager. Ego. Sorry. It's ego on both sides. Yes, I saw that Eric Bellinger interview where he talks about, Beyonce allegedly. Yeah, I'm saying allegedly because I don't know. Beyonce ain't ever come out and say that. But yeah, I've seen every single song Beyonce puts out. She's in there as one of the writers. And I cannot fault the woman if that's what she's doing, where she goes into the studio and you know they put a song in front of her, and when she thinks about the lyrics she feels like, okay, I need to change the words right here, I need to change the words down there, I need to do that, and she puts her own little sauce on it for it to sound more like her and feel more like her, and now she has a writer's credit. Makes sense, because if I'm adding to your lyrics, baby, I am a writer. I am a writer. Um, oh, thank you, Freddie. Yeah, I feel like they can squash it. I don't think it's anything too deep. It's only going to continue to get deeper if they allow it. Honestly. Honestly. And I don't feel like it's Cardi or any of the other rap girls that's causing Nikki to kind of fade away into the background a little bit. I think it's because she made the choice to go marry that man. And I've said that on my personal Twitter. Y'all never know the name of that. But I've said that on I've given Nikki her props on my personal Twitter. I've said Nikki was the one that burst through the gate when it felt like there was never going to be another woman rapper to come out and be a superstar. And she held the fort down for a long time. And then Cardi came and Cardi bust the gate wide open. And after Cardi, all these girls started to spill in. Did y'all not see that? Like, I need people to ask themselves why Nikki was at the gate for so darn long. And she was at the gate for years in this rap game, for years by herself at the gate, hits after hits after hits. And there was nobody, no other woman rapper bursting through behind her. Like, let's be for real. It was almost like she wasn't really opening up the gate really for any. Ask yourselves, in Nicki Minaj's prime, in the prime of her career, what woman rapper did she do a collab with? I would love for the Barbs to answer that because I can't recall in the heights of her career her doing any collaborations with any up and coming woman rapper. I can't recall. I might have to go back and do my research. I'm sure if Barb's find me over here, they will set me straight, and I welcome that if I'm if I just don't know, but I can't recall. I remember her doing songs with Rihanna, but again, Rihanna is not a female rapper. I recall her doing songs with Drake and Wayne and Trey Songz and all these people, but I don't recall Nicki doing songs with any up and coming woman rapper. But then Cardi comes and she busts through the gate, and Cardi was doing collabs after collabs after collabs, and majority of those collabs were with up and coming women rappers. If I'm lying, I'm lying. Nikki did. No, I wouldn't even list MIA or Maya as an up and coming rapper. I can't. Little Kim not an up and coming rapper. Okay, so yeah, MIA was around. Paper Planes was a hit. But then she fizzled out. I don't know what happened. What happened to Maya after Paper Planes, child? She just fizzled out. And Little Kim was there and she was doing her thing, but she wasn't like as commercial as Nikki was at the heights of Nikki's career. That's what I mean. Like Nikki was all over the place. She was doing Helen DeGeneres like 2011 times. She was on all these talk shows. She was doing all these late night shows. She had her perfume. She was in movies. She was here. She was there. She was everywhere, it seemed. And yes, Little Kim was still there, Eve was still there, MIA was there. As I said, Dage Loaf tried a little thing during that time. But it's almost like all those women in comparison to the status that Nicki Minaj had, it was almost like they were just in her shadow and nobody was really checking for them like that. But too, I'm sure there were female rappers across several states in the US at the time Nicki was at the heights of her career, where she could have said, okay, I see this girl over here on Instagram. She's doing her thing. People are probably tagging me, in videos and stuff, World Star Hip Hop and all those places. I'm sure Nicki could have found some girl or woman in the streets dropping freestyles like she used to do and say, hey, I'm gonna collab with her and I'm gonna put her out there. But we didn't see it. I mean, I feel you too, as in, we can't name any female rapper that was like, on the brink while Nicki Minaj was, at the heights of her career. Like I really can't. But as I said, Nicki is in that world. So she must have been in studio and somebody brought a girl around like, hey, this is my girl, she's a rapper. Da, da, da. Like I'm sure somebody somewhere on her team, part of her crew, was introducing her to little girls and women who were trying to get into the game and just couldn't burst through the door. And that's when Cardi came along. The second, I don't know what happened, but when Cardi B burst through that rap door, that rap gate, it's almost like she kicked that gate down. And then all these girls just started flooding through. And it's like, oh my God, where have all these girls been? Where have all these girls been? Where was Doja Cat all this time? Like, where were the city girls all this time? Where was Saweetie? Where were all these people? Where were they all these years? The Nicki Minaj was at the heights of her career. Where were these girls? They weren't in the studio. Where was Megan? Megan was trying to get on Love and Hip Hop. But then, but for whatever reason, God said that's not the door you gotta walk through to get to where you need to be. But as I said, Cardi bust through the gate. And then we got Megan and we got all these girls. As you said, within the last 10 years, yeah. Then we got Doshi. Like, come on. The gate was when Cardi kicked down that gate, it stayed kicked down. Stayed kicked down. They can't fix that. They can't fix that gate back to this day. And the rap girlies keep coming through, coming through. Some of them I don't listen to, but the point still stands. When Cardi came on the scene, something happened within the rap culture where it was just no longer Nicki Minaj. It was no longer gonna be just Nicki, and it was just gonna be Cardi. It was gonna be several others, and they were going to rise. We saw Megan rising. We see Glorilla rising. We see, Sexy Red. We see, Ice Spice. Whether we feel like these women are great rappers or lyricists or not, they have come in and they've paved the lane for themselves, and they're doing well. And I don't understand why majority of these girls are having issues with Nicki. Ice Spice, she said, when she did that song with Nicki wanted her to sign with her, but Ice Spice was signed to two other labels at the time, and she couldn't take on another label. And I feel like that makes sense from a business standpoint, from a common sense standpoint, contractual agreement standpoint. Nikki, come on. The girl, but then, then there were those text messages of Ice Spice, talking about Nikki to her friend, and the friend blasted Ice Spice and all of that. And then we saw JT and Nikki. We thought that was gonna be a budding friendship, and finally there's a rap girly who likes Nikki, and they're gonna be friends forever. And then a falling out happened for the same reason. JT wasn't about to sign with Nikki. I don't even know if Nikki still talks to Bia. And even though Cardi said, name five Bia songs, gun pointing to your head, bow, I'm dead. I don't know five Bia songs. I know a whole lot of money, and I know, and then the question is, what does no? What does no? What does that really mean? Because when it comes to a whole lot of money, I only know the intro. Like, I'll vibe to the song. There's a whole lot of money in this. And then I know I put on my jewelry just to go to the bodega, and I keep it with me just so that I'm feeling safer. And then that's it. That's it. And then I like the song when it dropped with her and J. Cole. I think it's called London. And I used to listen to that a lot, but I mean, I couldn't shoot. A pop went into my head to sing that song from start to finish. I couldn't. And then I also used to like the song, oh my God, what's the name of that song? Same hands, crushing up the with the same hands that I fix his plate with. Hey, I can just this that I lay with. I used to like that song, but I only know the chorus. So if they say no, as in I have to sing it from start to finish, I'm still gonna be out of here. But there's a couple Cardi B songs that I can sing, and I'm not a rapper, but I can rap it from intro down to the outro. Okay. Oh my God. Wait, let me read y'all's comments. Wait. Um, You talking about Nikki too? When you said most of the collabs that she did, she also took over. Or are you talking about Cardi? Because I can agree that the Nikki collabs, she killed those collabs. Uh, she was the feature. They the other artists were the feature. Oh my god. I don't know when paper planes dropped too, all I know is that was my song for a long time. And then when Jay-Z jumped on the remix, yes. Um let me read what else. Who hopped on Sexy Red? Did Nicki Minaj and Sexy Red do a song together? I don't remember that. Francis says Nicki Nicki will do Nikki will do a feature, then she will be beefing with the girl 1 week later. Hey, Francis, but that's the truth. Like I don't even know how her and JT ended up. She ended up even unfollowing JT. How they are no longer friends, and then JT. This is why you and Cardi fell out because you felt like now you have Nikki in your corner. You gonna take on Nikki's beef and make it now you got beef with Cardi when Cardi was one of the rap girlies that was giving y'all the strength when y'all were just, getting y'all's names out here. JT, you weren't even out of the lockup yet, and Cardi jumped on a track with y'all. One of the City Girls' biggest hits to date. And I remember videos upon videos of JT vibing and singing Cardi's songs and hype it. And now all of a sudden Cardi can't rap. And this is why Cardi said, "You a hating ass, ungrateful ass. Loyalty depends on who you are around ass." And I saw the tweet where somebody said to JT, "Oh, when y'all were cool and when she was hopping on y'all's tracks, she was a good rapper. You thought she was a good rapper then, huh?" And the only thing JT could respond with was, "Well, yes." And for what? For you and Nikki to just be beefing now? You lost out on a real one because Cardi seems to be very, very loyal to people she's loyal to. So you lost out on a real one because Nikki liked you for 5 seconds. Girl. Girl, bye. Miss Cece says, I'm listening to this country while watching Grace Jones strutting down a catwalk in 6 inch heels at 70. Yes, Jamaican sis, Grace Jones. These girls wish they'll still be fly at 50. Listen. Nikki didn't or doesn't embrace female rappers the way men do because when she was coming up, Little Kim, Foxy Brown, and other female MCs before her didn't do that for her. And you know what? That might be the case. That might be the case. And truth be told, if you go back to Cardi's early videos when she was sitting on those steps, just talking about life, she was a Nicki Minaj fan. And that goes that just goes to show you, sometimes your idols will turn into your enemies when they feel like I don't remember what the saying is. Something about when your idols turn to enemies or something like that. I don't remember it. You know, but a lot of people don't like to feel like people are stepping into their space and they're about to overshadow them. And I think that's what Nikki fears. I don't understand that because uh, Beyonce isn't out here, fighting. for the queen spot. She's not fighting for the throne. She's not out here reminding everybody every second about her numbers and this, that, and the third. Beyonce is just doing her thing, staying in her lane, letting the work show for itself. And because of that, there is nobody coming in trying to. I don't see any of the girls coming in acting like, "Oh, I'm here to take Beyonce down" or anything like that. Everybody in that sector, in the pop R&B sector, they are just vibing in their own lane. And I feel like majority of the women in rap right now, they just want to be in their own lane. I feel like Nicki Minaj is the only one that just wants to make sure everybody remembers, I'm the queen over here. Bow down, bow down, bow down. And it's getting so lame. I just feel like that announcement last night, oh, the first song on my album is gonna be titled The Straw That Broke the Camera Back. It just gave press. It's like, baby, if you are the queen of rap, you don't need to do any of that. Beyonce is such queen status that Beyonce is going to drop an album. She don't gotta do a rollout. She don't gotta do much promo. The beehive is gonna run out and they're gonna purchase and they're gonna show up to the tour. That's how you know you've gotten to queen status. When you can drop it and know that they will come. I think everybody else understands that I'm not at the queen status yet. So I'm going to promote. I'm going to be working my behind off so that I can get to that space where I can drop an album and I know people are going to buy. I barely have to tell them about the album and they're still going to buy it. And I don't think even Nicki Minaj is at that level where she can whisper that she has an album dropping and her hive is gonna buy it. I don't think she's at that status. Beyonce, we know Beyonce is at that status. Beyonce whispers, act two. And the people showed up. Missy says, yes, social media and the taste of the next generation changed the game. Yeah. People, I don't think nobody in this generation listening to rap cares about deeply dissecting the lyrics. I don't think so. People just want to vibe. I'm not going in the club to analyze your song. I'm not going into a party to analyze your song. Cardi B writes for the regular girl who's just trying to vibe out to some music. She's not writing for the over analytical, rap connoisseur. That's not who Cardi is writing for. So all these people are like, "Oh, Nikki is the better lyricist. This is Nikki is the better rapper." Okay, maybe so. But when I'm in the club, I don't care about none of that. Is the song fire? When the beat drop, do I want to do a two step? When the beat drop, I can't even twerk, but am I gonna do a little thing? Is the lyrics gonna have me feeling myself? Because let me tell you something. When Bodak Yellow drops, child, I don't own not one red bottom. But when Bodak Yellow drop, you can tell me that the heels I have on are not some red bottoms, child. These expensive, these is red bottoms, these is bloody shit. You can't tell me that I don't got some red bottoms on, okay? And then Cardi has some songs on her new album. I'm pretty and I'm petty as I'm pretty and walk a bit down and be sexy as I've never fought in my life, child. But that song made me feel like I'm about to walk down on somebody. So that's what I'm talking about. Like, hey, hello, it's me. Hello, it's me. Yes. That's gonna be my birthday turn up song. October 17th, y'all. So that's what I'm talking about. When I listen to music, I want to feel something. I don't care to overanalyze it. I just want to feel something. Nicki Minaj's "You See Right Through Me" song. I don't even know if that's "Right Through Me," I think is the name of it. You see right through me. How do you do that? One of my favorite Nicki songs. Not because there is stuff in the lyrics that I need to overanalyze, but because I feel it. Fly with her and Rihanna. I feel that super bass turn up song. Like I want to know who all these people are who are sitting up in somebody's party over analyzing the lyrics of songs and wants everybody else to care that much about analyzing lyrics to find out who's the better writer. Because by my standards, if I'm feeling your lyrics, if your lyrics makes me want to turn up, if your lyrics make me feel like I'm the baddest thing alive, then shoot, then you're the better lyricist. How about that? But a lot of people don't want to have that conversation. A lot of the songs that people are sitting around, making assessments and writing dissertations about the lyrics are not the songs that we are turning up to in our cars or in the club. Even people who were saying, "Oh, I don't I don't know why Jay-Z authorized, Cardi to do an interpolation of um imaginary players because oh, and I'm like, are y'all slow? Because all Cardi did was flip some of the lyrics in the original. Interpolation. I told people on my Instagram, go look up that word. That is basically just a reinterpretation of the lyrics. So Cardi didn't really do anything new with the song, really and truly. So my thing is, if y'all hate Cardi B's lyrics in Imaginary Players that much, then y'all hate the Jay-Z lyrics. If y'all feel like Jay-Z's lyrics was just so impeccable and just so deep and full of metaphors, then Cardi B's is full of metaphors too, because she just flipped around a couple things from the original to make it apply to her life. And so this is why I said on my Instagram, some of y'all just want to hate to hate. Some of y'all probably never listened to the original Imaginary Players. Y'all never heard that Jay-Z song, that Jay-Z track in y'all's life. And y'all just listening to the haters who are saying, oh my God, it's a horrible song. It can't be a horrible song when all she did was flip some of Jay-Z's lyrics to make it apply to her. So if you hate her lyrics, then technically you're saying you hate Jay-Z's lyrics. Miss Cece says, I wish this generation had the various type of rap we had at our fingertips. Club bangers, silly raps, thoughtful raps. LL Cool J was like one of those silly rappers. I love his stuff. I love his stuff. Political rap, smooth chill rap. The current crop is mediocre to me. Um, Beyonce doesn't have to fight for her name. Anyone who comes out who looks like they may really take off gets the old Beyonce and Jay-Z industry. You think so? I'm not seeing that because I feel like Doja, no, but I don't know. Beyonce's just in a lane by herself. And I feel like everybody is in their own lane. Like Doja Cat, she's in her own lane. The only person I feel is like similar to Doja in a way would be Doechii. She's the only person I feel like I could compare to Doja Cat. But Doja Cat is like fire. She can sing and she's an amazing rapper. People don't even know what lane to put Doja Cat in. They don't know if they should call her a pop, a pop artist or if they should call her a rapper. I just feel like Doja is an artist. Because in the same way you're questioning Doja, then we'd have to question Lauryn Hill because Lauryn Hill is a phenomenal vocalist, but she could out rap a lot of the people right now. She really could. What lane do you put Lauren Hill, and do you say she's a R&B artist, or do you call her a rapper? No, she's an artist. So same for Doja. Doja, I would say she's more so a rapper. She raps more than she sings. She doesn't do it equally. But in terms of like who Beyonce is as an artist, in terms of her vocal ability, in terms of her ability to dance, all of that, and put it all together and make it so seamless, there is nobody out here doing that. Nobody. Unless I don't know of them, but I don't see nobody doing that. Uh, okay. You said I don't even remember hearing Nikki say she wanted to be called the queen. Well, she loves to love the tweets that call her that. She definitely loves that. You think so? Cardi B can be disrespectful. You know how? Yeah. If you disrespect us, like look at me. I come on my YouTube and I'm chill and I vibe and I just want to laugh and I just want to have fun and I just want to, you know, talk the way I would talk if y'all were in my living room and we were just having a conversation on this topic. I'm grateful that I have never really had to come on this app and curse anybody out. I am so grateful for that and knock on wood, that I will never, ever, ever have to do that because I know where my mouth can go. And as Cardi said, Michelle Obama said, when they go low, we go high. Child, but me, if you push me to that point, I am sure going to take it to hell, down to where the lava is, where it's erupting from. So I believe Cardi when she said that. And I try not to get there. It takes a whole lot for me to have to get to that point. And I can literally count how many times I've ever had to get to that place. Because I don't know, I don't surround myself either with people who put me in positions where I have to get to that space. I'm thankful for that. I'm in a work environment where I literally mind my business. Half the stuff that happens there, if somebody don't come tell me, I don't know. Somebody quits, I don't know until somebody come tell me. Somebody got fired, I don't know unless somebody come tell me. Somebody got beef, I don't know until somebody else comes tell me. I literally mind my business. I love saying, that's not my ministry. That's like my new thing now. That's not my ministry. That's above my pay grade. And I like to mind my own business. I really do. I don't get in the mix of things. And if you pull me into the mix of things and then it becomes messy, and it's messy not because of anything that I did, and now I have to defend myself, yeah, I'm firing at everybody can get it. But thank God I've not been in that situation in a very, 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 very long time. But yeah, as Libras, we can get very disrespectful, very disrespectful. But it often follows being disrespected first. I don't know. I don't know a Libra. I don't know any Libra that will say they love confrontation or that they just go out their way to pick on people. Yeah, it's often you come for me, and we feel like it's that deep, but then we're gonna fire back. At least that's how it is for me. But again, I haven't been in that position in a long time, so we going down to where the lava is bubbling up and about to explode. I even say, child, if you push me to the edge, you push me to the edge, I am grabbing you, and both of us about to fall over that. I'm grabbing for everybody. We all about to fall over. Because I'm about to fall over this precipice by myself. Not falling over the edge by myself. I'm holding on to somebody. I'm taking somebody with me. You throw a rock at me and that rock hurts me. I don't know if it's today or tomorrow or the next day or the next day after that or the next day after that. But I'm finding a grenade and I'm launching it at your head. Ooh, that just got dark. But I like balance. I like balance. I like fairness. Treat me right, I'll treat you right. Treat me badly, I'm not gonna match energy just straight off the bat. But I'm gonna believe you the first time in terms of how you treated me. And I'll continue to proceed with caution. That's just me. But you try to cut me deep or you cut me deep, I'm cutting back. Okay, that just went to a dark place. My husband is a Libra. He does do confrontation until he has to. Then yeah, then it's an explosion. We about to you want to pour gasoline? Okay. Fine. I've got the match. Let's burn this shit down. How about that? That's that's just how it goes. Leave us alone and we leave you alone. It's really, really that simple. Don't come over here with no dumb stuff. If you feel some type of way, state how you feel. Don't let it build and build and build and build into unnecessary madness and then think I'm going to play the bigger person. No, I'm going to tell you about yourself. I'm going to tell you how ridiculous you look, how ridiculous you sound. And then we can leave each other alone after that. Or we can be cool. Y'all just got to decide. So yeah, I believe you because a lot of people who want who like confrontation are people who love drama and they love negative attention. I would rather to sit and talk through something than to sit and let something fester and then it turns into an argument and it turns into a fight and it snowballs into things that it doesn't have to. And a lot of people, if people would be honest, excuse me, they would say that a lot of the falling outs that they've had with other people, a lot of fights that they've had with people are about some very small things, irrelevant things. I don't have time for that. I'm a go. I'm gonna talk to you if I feel if I feel negative energy towards you. eh, It's something that probably build and I was probably denying it. I was probably gaslighting my own darn self into believing that what I'm feeling and what I'm seeing and what I'm thinking is not what I'm seeing and feeling and thinking. And the minute it dawns on me that girl, it is what it is. I'm going to go talk to you. I'm going to say, don't do that. I don't like this. And it might explode into something crazy. But then after that, I'm cool. It takes a lot for me to really get upset. Really, it does. But anyways, y'all, those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts on Melissa Ford and Joe Budden. If y'all missed that part, I was just talking about how Melissa Ford is no longer on the Joe Budden podcast. Don't know if she was fired. Don't know if she quit. I didn't like how she was treated on that podcast. So I'm happy that she's no longer there. And good luck to Don't Call Me White Girl, because from what I saw today, they're about to treat you the same way they treated Melissa. So hope you're strong enough. And then I went on to talk about Cardi B, well, not Cardi B, really it was about Nicki Minaj and just how I felt like Nicki's in this space where she wants everybody to bow down, or she wants everybody to know that she is the queen of rap. And she doesn't want to give anybody else the spotlight. And all the people that she's ever given the spotlight to are people who, in my opinion, she wanted to be her lapdogs. And when it turned out that they weren't trying to be her lapdogs, then it turned out to be beef. Seen it with Ice Spice. Seen it with Megan. We've seen it with JT. There's a pattern there. However, Nikki, if you're that girl, let your work speak for yourself. Let it speak for itself. You have the catalog. You've had years and years and years in this industry. You have the connects. I don't think anybody can fight you out of your spot but you. I think all these girls are here just trying to work and go home. You're the only one, in my opinion, that wants to fight. All this animosity that you've held onto for all these years towards all these girls, Nikki, I feel like you need to let it go. I think a lot of what you're experiencing right now, Nikki, is not because of any of these rap girls. I think it's because of who you chose to marry. Honestly, I think a lot more would be going on for you right now commercially if you didn't choose to marry that man. But you said you love him, you married him, you had a baby by him, and that's the bed that you now have to lie in. Stop projecting onto everybody else the resentment that you're probably feeling because you made that choice. Maybe because you're seeing what the consequence of that choice is right now. There are a lot of people who can't look at you the same because they feel like, wow, that man did do that to that girl. And you know that he did it to that girl. And you're out here saying that he didn't. And you're calling her a liar and all these things. And people don't like that. And while you think that the reason why a lot of people are turning their backs on you is because of Cardi B or because of Megan or because of this person or that person or Jay-Z or whatever, truthfully, it might just be because of who you married, in my opinion. But as you said to Jay-Z, even though you feel the ways that you feel about him, it doesn't take away from the fact that he's still your top five. It's the same way I feel like, regardless of all these little minor beefs, because I think they're minor, these trivial, beefs and miscommunication moments that you had between some of these women in rap, I still think that you are top five in the rap game still. I still like Nicki Minaj's music. I rock with Cardi B the long way. Like, I am a Cardi B fan. Used to be a Nicki Minaj fan. I don't know what switched up. I think it's just all the foolishness that's going on surrounding her. I can't relate to it. I can't. I can't relate to it. I can't relate to who she is now as an artist. Early Nicki Minaj, I could relate to her. This version of Nicki, I can't relate to. Cardi B, I can relate to her a little bit. Megan, I can relate to her a little bit. Glorilla, a little bit. Doshi, love me some Doshi. Some Doja Cat, love me some Doja Cat. I rock with a lot of these rap girlies because really and truly, and this is to the Barty gang and to the Barbs, you can love more than one. It's not going to be equal, but you can vibe to more than one. Love the music more than you are just so enthralled in these people's personal interpersonal relationships. Anyways, y'all, that is it. That is all. Please remember to like this video. Uh Toot says JB can never can treat women right. Clock it. Nikki doesn't know the art of collecting people. She's too nasty and probably doesn't give or put girls on well enough. I think also she's just one of those people who believes in giving to get in return. And this is my opinion. I could be wrong. Maybe she gives with a willing heart, and she never truly expects anything in return. But the optics of a lot of the things that goes on surrounding Nikki, the optics of it seems like she gives, and the expectation is now you're mine. Now when I jump, you have to say how high. When if I'm beefing with somebody, you gotta beef with that person too. I don't think she's on her grown woman where she understands that I can be cool with you and I can be cool with this one over here. And it doesn't mean that if I'm in a room with Cardi, I'm gonna be talking badly about you. And Cardi, if I'm in a room with Nikki, it doesn't mean that I'm gonna, because there are women like that. There are women who understands that this rap game is still work. It's still work. You're here today and you are gone tomorrow. Just like fashion, some things were in, 20 years ago, and now they're back in, today. It's the same thing with music. You're up, you're down, all of that. And some of these girls, they don't talk to each other every day. They're not best friends like that. So why do you want the type of loyalty to exist in a workspace where if I'm not cool with her, if I do a song with you, you can't be cool with her either? And I think that's Nikki's expectation. Now, I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but that's what some of the stories surrounding her, that's what it gives. But anyways, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, now called X, at How I See It, and on TikTok at How I See It TV. Remember to check out my reel on Instagram where I'm reviewing my 7th Avenue Beauty vegan lemon drop body soap. Give it a like, give it a share, push me up there in the algorithm over there on Instagram. And until my next live or my next pre-recorded video, y'all, walk good. Bye. Thank you for listening.